Hey everybody, Hunter back again from Showtime Studios. Just wanted to, I guess, answer a question that has come up multiple times since I did the little tutorial over at the spray booth on the little chassis on the build tutorial series that we're doing. A lot of guys have come in and asked me about the spray booth, what it is, a lot of questions. So this is just a quick video to let everybody that asked the question or anybody else that may want to know what booth I use. That booth is an Artegraph, or Artegraph, I guess is how you say it, 1530. And what the 1530 stands for is basically it is 15 inches deep and it's 30 inches wide. And I added a light to it. It does not come with a light. I added the 24-inch fluorescent bulb in the spray booth. It is a twin fan unit. It's downdraft. Artegraph does make the special filters for it. They make, I think, 3 different style filters. You can buy them individually or you can buy them on a roll, and they are very expensive. They do work. I use those in when I originally got the booth. It had some filters in the kit, and I used them then. And then when I started pricing them, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. All I'm trying to do is stop, the solids from going out the exhaust. And I started using basically go to Walmart and pick up air conditioner filters. They make several different styles. They make a green one. It's a real rough mesh. It's about an inch thick, and it's a fair amount bigger than the spray booth. You can cut that down with a pair of scissors or a knife or whatever, and it'll line the whole bottom of the spray booth. I've used one of them, and what I have in there now is actually 20 by 25 just regular AC filters. You get 4 in a pack. They're fairly inexpensive. You do have to, cut them and bend them and modify them and do things like that, but whole lot cheaper than buying the special made filters for the booth. Now, another thing is let me mention this, that booth is it's designed 2 different ways. It has twin exhaust outlets on it, one for each fan, and they're about 4.5 inch diameter. And I have those run through basically dryer duct, the flexible duct tubing, to 2 wall inserts with little flapper valves in them that go to the outside. You don't need as much filtering when you're doing and sending everything outside. You should, for all the green people out there. It's a good idea to stop a lot of the solvents and all that stuff and the particles from going out into the air. But I use the AC filters that stops the solids, and the only thing going outside is just the fumes. Another way that booth is designed is if you use the Artegraph filters, you can set that booth on your workbench, even with like the fans, and you do not need to vent it outside because the filters are grabbing all of the particles, all the solids, and they have a charcoal filter that grabs up all the fumes. So you can set it up both ways. I would recommend anybody buying one to definitely vent it to the outside. It made a world of difference in this hobby room. I've had that booth for about 6 years now. I think I paid it was right around $400 for that booth back then, and it's one of the best things that I ever put in here. I know a lot of guys, they like to make their own booths, with bathroom fans or the range hoods. To tell you the truth, one of my first booths was done with a range hood and basically some tacked and glued together particle board. It's what my first booth was, and it was an updraft. It worked okay, but it wasn't what I wanted. You could spray, especially if you're spraying a can, you still had fumes and you could still smell the paint. I can go over to that booth now, flick the fans on, and I can spray a can. Like when I'm decanting paint, I can take a full size spray can decant it into a bottle, and even standing at the booth, you cannot smell the fumes off of it. So, I highly recommend for anybody, especially the beginners, the intermediate people, to invest in a good quality booth. There's some other ones out there. One of the best on the market is a Pace. I checked those out a couple of years ago at a show up in Pittsburgh, and they are just absolutely beautiful spray booths. And I always told everybody that if something happens to this booth, the fans quit working, I will be investing in a Pace. Now, the one that I looked at up at that show was, I think, around the $500 or $600 range, but it has extra outlets on it. It has lights built into it, separate switches for everything. It's just a beautiful setup. The fans are a whole lot quieter than, as James Duff mentioned, what did he say? My helicopter turbines. That's what he said, because that's what it sounds like when you kick that thing on. But, this is probably not a good reference, but many of you know that I smoke cigarettes, and I can stand about 2 foot, 3 foot away from that booth with a cigarette. And when that booth is on, it'll actually draw that smoke from the cigarette, and you can see it go over to the booth and go down into the filter and go out. I mean, it makes a world of difference, and I highly recommend them to anybody out there to buy a booth and, not build one, but if you're handy and you want to build one, go for it. My recommendation is to buy a good booth. It's one of the best things that I ever put in here. So hopefully that lets everybody know about the spray booth. And if you have any more questions or whatever on the filters, or whatever modeling related, a lot of questions have come up during the build tutorial series. So that's good. We're going to keep trying to write everything down, get them answered for everybody. So that's all we've got for this one. Just a quick explanation of my spray booth. And when we do the final tour, when the hobby room's all done, we'll take you in there and show you, some more views of it a little bit closer up, how we set everything up. So stay tuned for that. Like always, I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.